Good morning, everybody. Sorry about the audio at the end of yesterday. I think we're going to continue to have some issues with internet. I'm seeing it reports of it all over the place, and I'm seeing that Google is, excuse me, Google is going to be dropping the quality of videos on YouTube because of the amount of people streaming things. So it looks like we're going to have some issues with streaming going forward. I don't think there's a whole lot I can do with that, but we'll just try to deal with it as best we can, like anything else that's going on. Today, I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about sleep. We've been talking about good habits all week, diet, meditation, and today I thought it was pretty important to talk about sleep because that's one of the things that can get a little bit wonky now that we don't have these regular rhythms and routines. We start staying up a little bit later, we start sleeping in a little bit longer, and so we're going to discuss that. Before we get into that, I want to talk about a couple of things. One, following up on the food aspect of it and on the vegetables and all the good stuff that we want. Good morning, Janice. Following up on all that stuff. Angel is a uh-oh, wait a minute. That's not the link that I want to share with you guys. Hold on one second. Actually, I'm going to have Angel do it. If Angel's on here, Angel, if you can share the link to Imperfect Foods. These are foods that were rejected because they weren't pretty enough for grocery stores, so they get sold online and delivered to your house. Deliveries may vary, but whether it's available to you or not in your area. But it's something I'm looking into myself, and it would be pretty good if we could get some vegetables delivered to our house. Might not be pretty; they might be goofy looking carrots, but they're still healthy for you. It might even be more healthy for you. You never know. Good morning, Helen. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me. So if Angel is on, please share your link. If not, I will share it for you when I'm done. The link I thought I copied to share ended up being a Facebook link, and that's not what I want to do. So we'll work on that. The other thing I found in shopping for ink or toner for my laser printer yesterday is that if you're looking for hand soap, which is something that's like the one thing we needed. Oh, there we go, Angel. Thank you. One of the things that we needed was hand soap. We were sort of running low and we've been washing our hands a lot. And my kids don't get the concept of like pea-sized amounts. So I was shopping for toner, and Staples has hand soap, soft soap. And then I was shopping for something else on quill.com, and they have a ton of soap available. So if you need soap, try one of the office supply stores. Everybody's rushing to the grocery stores or like Sam's Clubs and stuff. But apparently the big box office stores are well stocked. So good little tip to grab some stuff that you might need there. They also have cleaning supplies. And they brand it as office cleaning supplies, but it's basically Lysol or whatever. Hold on, let me mute my computer. We don't need to be hearing my emails coming in. So our meme of the day on that theme of washing ourselves is this. I'm going to share it with you here. I thought this was pretty appropriate for a lot of reasons. It's a picture right there of someone's hand with their test answers on it, right? Like we used to write on our hands in high school to cheat. And it says, "I washed my hands so many times, I found the answers to my eighth grade social studies test." So that's our meme of the day. I thought that was pretty good. Speaking of school, also though, my kid who's in the fourth grade, his teacher held a Zoom call yesterday to get in touch with all the kids, and so like a lot of maybe 12 kids, maybe a few more, were on the Zoom call, and my kid was so freaking excited for this. I posted it on my story in on my page. It's facebook.com/defined life, and yeah, he was just so excited. I mean, when we got to say what he was doing, he was just like, it was just all smiles. It was pretty good, and you don't realize what these kids are missing right now until you see them, in touch with their classmates and their teacher. So we're trying to do what we can to keep them occupied and keep them on the right track. But yeah, they are missing things the same way we are. So everybody's stressed out. So just keeping on the right path is the right way to go, which is going to be the topic for our 3 o'clock live today. Again, facebook.com/definedlife. Our 3 o'clock session today is going to be about like this situation and how it's defining us as people. The best comes out of some people, the worst comes out of others. But, and I know it's easy to let things slide. But right now, this is a test. Like, this is a test of our values, our purpose, our personal discipline. What we're doing with ourselves right now is defining us, who we are going to be as people. Are we going to come out of this proud of the way we were? Or are we going to come out of this behind the 8 ball, not set up for success? So we need to be, I'm not saying you can't take a break. There's overwhelm. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of anxiety. You have to forgive yourself for that. You have to be understanding and empathetic toward yourself for that and the people around you. But you still have to press forward. We can't just give up. So, whether it's your exercise, your Define My Day process, now is not the time to quit. Now is the time to get down to it. Goals may change, but we still need to do the work that's going to make us successful. And successful not monetarily, but successful in being the people that we want to be. So don't give up on that. And we're going to talk about that today. And today I'm probably all jazzed up today because the sun's shining. I did my meditation a little bit late this morning, and halfway through my meditation, I was interrupted by like an immense amount of sunlight in our living room, and it felt nice. And I ran around the house this morning. It's only 45 degrees here right now. It's going to be about 70. But I ran around the house opening up all of the windows because like fresh air coming in, the warmth of sunlight, it was just like, it was empowering. Like it's awesome to get this kind of a day. And so my wife is like, "Oh my God, it's going to be cold in here." I'm like, "I don't care. I need fresh air. I need fresh air." So the windows are open. I had to close mine because somebody's using a circular saw across the street. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful outside right now, and we can't wait to take the kids out for a walk. And we're gonna go to the park and just walk the trail around the park and not go into the park, just for obvious reasons. But we just need to get outside and get moving, and I'm excited to do it. So yeah, we're excited. All right, so today's topic is sleep, right? Look, I understand we're all tempted to stay up late. And actually, kind of what I was really thinking about this last night because I stayed up late with my boys. We played Fortnite a little bit last night, so we stayed up a little bit later, and I stayed up past my normal 10 o'clock bedtime, and which in turn, I ended up waking up about an hour late today because I wanted to prioritize the amount of sleep I got, not necessarily what time I woke up, although that can change. I'll talk about that soon. But, we want to make sure we're getting the proper amount of sleep and we're not throwing off our cycle completely. So, we're going to get into these details. But real quick, I'm going to head into the comments and see what people have been talking about so far while I've been running my mouth. All right. Stacy says, "Good morning. Angel shared her link here. It's a short link, and I think it gets you 10% off if you use Angel's link there. So go ahead and do that. And I will be doing that later today. Hopefully they deliver to my area." Carrie says yes. Now, Carrie is a teacher. Carrie says, "I plan to do a Zoom call with my class next week when we start our online learning. So glad to hear he enjoyed it." He loved it. It was quick. It was only 15 minutes long, and each kid got like a minute to say what they've been doing and hi and all this other stuff. And it's funny because everybody was like, "Playing video games." And that was my kid's first response too, "Playing video games." But we're doing so much more. It's just that's obviously the big thing that they like. So, but yeah, he loved it. He was smiling ear to ear. And if I can quickly bring up that photo, I'm going to show you right now. Like this was him right here, if you can see that. Like he is loving, like sitting there with his classmates. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Hi, Lori. Good to see you. Ashley, just a note. My Define My Day journal has restored my sanity. I love this note. I'll keep reading these ones. This pandemic really threw me off track all week, and my anxiety was sky high. I needed order, and my journey helped restore that for my household. Very grateful. Ashley, I am grateful for that because that's the kind of example that I want for all of our users. This now is the time to continue on and keep yourself centered. Don't go too far off your path. I understand goals are changing, all right? Like priorities are changing, but we still need to keep that thread of consistency through our lives. So keep it up. Thank you, Ashley. Uh, Janice says mine is getting me and my household situated. That's awesome. Thank you. Um, Jackie says I needed to be uplifted. Friends lost jobs yesterday and it hurts. Thankful I still have a job, but feel bad for them. I agree. I agree. And when anyone says anything like that, I refer back to the Brene Brown section about empathy, in that empathy is understanding and feeling for somebody that's in a hole, that's going through something, right? But it's not, we don't put ourselves into that hole with them, because all that does is create a hole that two people have to get out of. So we need to continue on our path, and we can feel empathy for other people, but we don't want to put ourselves into the situation with them. So I know it's hard for everybody. It's hard for small businesses. I mean, we've seen an impact on our business. There are a lot of friends that we have that own restaurants, that have other businesses of their own. It's hard right now, and things are going to change. This is going to be incredibly hard going forward. We cannot let ourselves get off the path. Like, we have to stay strong and stay centered. We are the leaders in our own little circle, right? So we have to stay strong and be an example. And we cannot fall victim to all of the crap that's going on around us. There are going to be situations we are victimized from time to time, and maybe now more than ever. But how we handle ourselves it defines us, and that's what this is all about. Thank you, Jackie. Lori, it was like that in Michigan yesterday. We're probably getting your weather today. My kids and I walked twice around our neighborhood. It was so nice. Yeah, and I saw a lot of people. I was looking out the window and I saw a lot of people walking yesterday in our neighborhood too. Yesterday, not a great day, but still nice enough to get out. I didn't get out yesterday, but I am going to today. And if it's warm enough through the evening, I might even do a fire pit and maybe roast some marshmallows or something with the boys tonight. So hopefully we have that kind of a night. I am an outdoor guy. I love getting out. I love this time of year in the spring. I have a couple things working against me. Number one, my allergies. You can tell, like right now, I'm congested. I woke up perfectly clear this morning. 10 minutes after opening the windows and having that breeze come through, I'm like, just, I got to go downstairs and take a Zyrtec, although it doesn't really work well for me, especially this time of year. The other thing is we have mosquitoes and ticks all over the place in our backyard. Our new house that we should be moving into soon has a screened-in porch, and I am looking forward to taking advantage of that all summer long. So, but yeah, I'm so jazzed by the weather today. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. Thank you for joining me. All right, go back to sleep. All right, so listen, sleep is like that thing that it became cool to say, like, I only sleep 4 or 5 hours. I'll sleep when I'm dead. All those stupid things that we've said. I've said that. I said it. And I fell victim to that, that thing where we just feel like, I'm gonna grab life by the whatever and just and go forward. You know, and it's wrong. It's wrong because sleep is when you give up sleep or when you have poor sleep, you're giving away your long-term health. You're sacrificing your long-term health, and you're probably sacrificing some immediate health also. So I keep that in mind that, like, you're supposed to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I struggle to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep because the earlier I go to sleep, the earlier I wake up naturally. So I naturally wake up after about 6 hours. And I don't know that it's because that's all I need or if it's because I've just trained myself to only sleep on 6 hours. So I've been focusing on trying to get 7 or 8 hours. And if I can't get it all at once, I should probably be taking a nap in the middle of the day. I just struggle to find time to do that. So it's something that I'm working on also. But so these are like the 10 things that good sleep does for you. Number one, it's good for your heart health. They say that somebody that gets a good amount of restful sleep, it doesn't stress your cardiovascular system, and it is good for your heart health. People that sleep regularly have a lower instance of heart attack, stroke, and all sorts of stuff like that. Number two, it may actually prevent cancer. There's some link between melatonin and cancer. Whereas like sunlight saps melatonin, and at night your body creates melatonin. It's the one of the chemicals that helps you sleep. And melatonin actually has a positive impact on, or there's some correlation with having more melatonin in your body and lower instances of cancer. So by sleeping better, you could be reducing your chances of cancer. It reduces stress. So when you reduce stress, you obviously feel better. There's less anxiety. There's less of that fight or flight response. So you want to reduce your stress. It reduces inflammation. And like consistent inflammation can actually, it creates more wear and tear on your body, your joints. It creates a problem. This could be related to the cardiovascular problem too, right? Inflammation is bad for you overall, and there is some potential link to Alzheimer's um, and brain issues as you get older with persistent inflammation. Side note here, one of the things with coronavirus that they've mentioned is that anti-inflammatory drugs might actually make a coronavirus infection worse. I can't guarantee this. It's just early studies that I was reading that so a drug like Advil, if taken when taking the coronavirus, could actually make it worse because it reduces the body's inflammatory response, which is fighting the virus, rather than letting you ride through a fever. So you don't want to reduce your fever. You want to continue that fever. That's your body's way of fighting it. And they say if you have to take something, then take Tylenol, which doesn't have that same anti-inflammatory response that Advil does. Nurses check me on that, but it's something that I was reading the other day. So we actually could not stock up on Tylenol because it was all sold out. Everybody probably read that. But we do have a ton of Advil. Go figure. It helps you be more alert. The better rested you are when you wake up, the more clearly you can think. It improves your memory, and we'll get into that a little bit, maybe why in a little while. It assists in weight loss. There is a correlation between people that sleep less and people that have higher average weight. So people that are overweight tend to sleep less, and people that sleep less tend to be overweight. Uh, Napping is great. So smart people nap. Napping is a good way to like avoid too much caffeine in the afternoon. It also rebuilds like willpower and the ability to focus. So if you can nap in the middle of the day, no more than an hour. Don't get into that whole REM cycle where then you want to sleep for 3 hours and you wake up groggy. You want to try to limit to a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. It reduces depression, and we'll get into that also. It kind of relates to memory also. And then it gives your body time to repair. So rather than moving around and doing things to break the body down, your body's resting and repairing itself. All right, so there's some woo woo and early studies that, and when I give you the resources where you can look up some more information about sleep, there are certain things that nobody's like 100% proven, but there are strong correlations. And it goes back to what the body does when you are sleeping and how it positively impacts you. And one of the things that they've observed is that when you're sleeping, the brain goes into this cycle that this one book compares to like a washing machine. Like it uses like it's like your spinal fluid starts like flushing the brain out, So it's sweeping toxins that build up through the day out of your brain and gets them out of there. And that could be part of the why you see a positive improvement in depression, memory, and without a buildup of those toxins over time, a lower instance of loss, dementia, and things like that. And even on its way out. There's also scientific data that they believe shows that the brain rewires itself overnight to make pathways more efficient. So whatever you were thinking about or doing during the day, and this is kind of why we talk a lot about um, uh, doing like meditation and appreciation and focusing on more positive activities through the day, because when you do that, then your brain starts wiring itself more towards those positive outcomes than any negative stuff we were thinking about. So it's kind of a downward spiral or a spiral upward, depending on what you were thinking about during the day. Your brain rewires itself to think more efficiently that way at night. And so, with all of this, the goal being make your sleep more efficient so that your brain, your body can do the things that it needs to do to get it, to get itself cleaned out for the morning. Psychologists, actually, one of the first things that some psychologists do with people that have anxiety and depression is get them on a steady bedtime and wake time. Make sure they're getting 7 to 8 hours, and they keep it as consistent as possible. And that way they have a good foundation to build the rest of the work on. So we want to. That's how much of a priority this should be for us. We want to make sure that we're sleeping properly. So how do you get good sleep? And what are the things that you can do to get good sleep? Number one, have that same wake time and bedtime every day. And there's some evidence that varying that, even varying it over the weekend by an hour, can throw off your entire sleep cycle. So what you want to do, and there's two ways to handle this. One, you can make sure you get to bed at 10 o'clock, or whatever time you want to get to bed, right? So my goal is 10 o'clock. And I can try to make sure I get to bed at that time. But the problem is, if my sleep cycle's off, I'm going to lay in bed awake for half an hour, hour and a half, right? So my method is to fall asleep whenever I can fall asleep, but wake up at my designated time every day. So my designated time is 5 o'clock. So if I wake up at 5 o'clock, no matter what, even if I didn't go to bed until 3 in the morning, I wake up at 5 o'clock, and I will suffer through the day. But over like a day or two of that, my body will be so exhausted, I will naturally fall asleep when I need to fall asleep. But I have to make it through that time, right? So if I wake up at 5 o'clock, no matter how bad I got to drag myself out of bed, then I will naturally fall asleep at 10 o'clock, my 7 hour mark, right? Um, to make sure that I get up at 5 o'clock and okay. So I'm forcing myself into it. That might not work for some people, but that's the way I do it. The other thing in that consistency is that there's evidence that shows that using the sleep button, actually using it one time can throw off your entire cycle, because the body starts a new cycle because you're not quite out of it yet, and when you get into it, your body is now restarting a cycle, and it throws off your entire day. And they can tell this by brain scans or whatever. I have no idea, but it's just something to keep in mind. If you're a snoozer like I am, one snooze can throw off and make you feel less energetic through the day rather than just waking up. So if you need to use Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed and just do it. You've already made the decision, just get out of bed. However you need to do it, get out of bed. Variance hurts. We don't want to vary it. We want to try to have the same routine every day. Is it realistic? I don't know, because I know even I sleep in a little bit on the weekends. But try to have as much consistency as possible. And the goal is rhythm. We want to have a strong sleep rhythm. And the more we can get that consistent, the better we're set up to get through the rest of the day. All right, so some little tips here. Number one, having a cold room. So our bodies sleep better in a colder environment. So a few studies that I've read say to lower the house temperature, you can get it down into the high 50s if you can handle it. I can't. I do more of like 62, 64 degrees. Our house at night goes down to 64 degrees, except in the summer because I'm not going to pay for that air conditioning bill. But if you can get your house down to 64 degrees or lower at night, it will help your body sleep better. You know how like when it's real hot and you roll around really uncomfortable. We want to avoid that. We want to get down into like almost like a little bit of a hibernation state. Number 3, no light. My best sleep was when I was stationed on Guam in the Air Force. We had these Typhoon blinds. They were metal shutters that you would crank down, and they would completely cover the windows. And that it made the room pitch black. You could literally, unless you had an electronics like a VCR or whatever, the room was pitch black. You could literally not see a thing. I never slept better in my life, and especially if I would work a midnight shift and I'd be actually sleeping during the day. You had no idea what time of the day it was. It was awesome. So now we try to recreate that, and it's funny because our township just put up these white LED lights outside, and they're awful for people to sleep. In fact, they're saying in bigger cities where they have these bright white LED lights, the street lights, it's actually screwing up people's sleep cycles. Anyway, I digress. What you want to try to do is black it out as much as possible. Cover up your phone. I don't know if you're like me, but when my phone an alert comes up on my phone, it shines that little bit of light on the ceiling, and it actually wakes me up. So flip your phone over, your iPad, whatever you have going on, close your blinds, make sure there's no blue light anywhere, and that will help you sleep a little bit better. In one study I read, in one of the books that I read here, I'm going to give you in a little while, they did a test where they put a little light behind somebody's knee, and that little bit of light, you couldn't even see it otherwise, but that little bit of light caused the body to not sleep to the extent that it would without the light. That seems a little extreme to me. It's a little woo-woo, but you know what? I don't even know that I care. I think the goal is just to get as little light in the room as possible. No electronics within 1 hour of going to sleep. Good luck with this. Good luck with this. If you must use electronics before going to bed, now there's 2 reasons for this. One, it engages the brain in a way that it wants to still be awake. And 2, the blue light, right? If you look at the natural light in nature, the sunrise is yellow and red, right? And the sunset is yellow and red. The sunrise comes up blue, right? There's blue white light coming into your house in the morning, and at night there's a cool red light. That's our body's cue, okay, time to go to bed. So if you're looking at a computer screen or anything that doesn't have that night mode where it turns the screen a little bit yellow, then that blue light is telling your brain, stay awake. We're not ready to go to bed yet. So if you have night mode, use night mode. But you also want to avoid your electronics about an hour before going to bed because it's still engaging your brain. Your brain is just awake and wired and ready to go. If you're doing something like reading a book, or if you have a good wind down, whether it's meditation or whatever, that wind down 1 hour before going to bed will just have you ready. And once you lay down, you're just going to be out. If you have that kind of a process, you're way ahead of everybody else. I know for me, meditation, if I try to meditate at around bedtime, I will be out in 5 minutes. I cannot stay awake if I try to meditate before going to bed. So it's one of the things I do if I really need to get to sleep. I meditate, especially if my mind is racing. That meditation gets me focused on my breathing or whatever. I'm out on the light. Number 5. Watch your food. Watch what food bothers you before going to bed. I know for me, if I eat carbs, if I eat acidic stuff, pizza, fried food, my stomach is a mess. And then in the middle of the night, I'm waking up with indigestion, and I just don't feel good. It's just uncomfortable. That discomfort is going to keep you awake, so watch it. The other thing is caffeine. Caffeine has a half-life of 4 hours. So whatever caffeine you're drinking, if you're drinking it at 2 in the afternoon, the half-life of caffeine, you're only getting rid of half of that by 6 o'clock. And then you're getting rid of half of the rest of it by 10 o'clock, right? And so depending on how much you drank, it's still in your system. And even if you can fall asleep, you're still not going to get down to the level of REM sleep that you need to get that whole washing machine effect, to get down to that restful sleep. So for me, my rule is noon. I don't drink caffeine after noon. I don't care what it is, Coke, coffee, whatever. I don't even drink Coke anyway, but you know what I'm saying, right? Don't drink caffeine after 12. Be careful of anything that gives you indigestion that might bother you. Even alcohol, while enough of it might make you pass out or help you relax, what they're saying is that it's not a restful sleep. It's kind of it's like a mild sleep that you ever wake up from drinking and you just feel exhausted, maybe not even hungover, but just exhausted. It's because you can't get really good sleep. So, watch your intake and be aware of the things that bother you. Minimize the noise. Minimize the noise. For me, I can hear just about anything. So, whether it's my kids falling out of bed across the house, a dog barking, a bird chirping, my cat. I told you the other day about my cat that would bat the blinds. We have to get rid of all of that. In fact, one of the things that bothered me the most when we first started selling to Find My Day, a woman returned it because she didn't like the process, which is fine. But she returned the pages that she had written in. We usually tell people, rip them out. But she returned the pages she had written on. And one of the things, there were a few things wrong with how she was going about it. But the one thing that bothered me the most was that she wrote in her journal that the dog was barking all night long and she couldn't sleep. And I think she might have even written that twice. And that, to me, is you cannot live that way. If you have anything like that that is keeping you awake every night, you have to solve that problem. If your dog is barking all night long, you have to shut the dog up, right? Your sleep is more important than that dog's barking. So whether you need to train it, whether you need to figure out what problem is causing it to bark, you can't let that happen to you. Your health is too important. If there's other things going on that are creating too much noise, you have to try to solve that problem. Get noise-canceling headphones, get earplugs, whatever you need to do, get that noise out. Get it out. You can't have your body consistently, like, you are on some level listening for things, and you have to try to avoid that. All right, and then the last one is have a good partner. You have to have a good partner. You can't want to try to fix your sleep while your partner's watching TV in the middle of the night, right? Or coming into bed and waking you up in the middle of the night, or tossing and turning, or whatever. You have to have a good partner that you're gonna work with on this. And sometimes it's creating boundaries. Other times it's just enlisting them as a teammate. But make sure that you have a good partner. And even having a good bed. I mean, my wife and I switched over to one of these memory foam beds, and that alone stops the whole thing from doing this. And now we get along much better as partners in bed because of the memory foam mattress that doesn't have one person rolling around and the other person, as if they're on a rowboat. So try to have a good partner with all of this. All right, so let me get into the comments here. Stacy says, "I'm so grateful for these sessions you do during these times, especially." Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the comments. I'm really torn right now between dealing with the smaller tasks for business. I feel like I really should be reaching out to our people right now. As a minister, I'm even more torn. We are working on setting up more for our peeps, but honestly, right now, I need to take care of myself. I've been steeped in the hard, big projects that I have been putting my home office and studio back together to get ready for a business move, and also going through my dad's stuff from his passing. It got dumped in my office, and we just haven't had time to get to it until now. Any suggestions on how we balance taking care of ourselves and being there for others? Right now, prayer and meditation make a priority list over emails. So, Stacy, I hear you on this one in a big way. I've been struggling with this myself. So, ideally from a business perspective, I would be doing videos, and I would be like a course on how to get through this whole time period with Define My Day, and I would be trying to figure out all these avenues to try to sell more, right? And it didn't feel natural to me. So that was sort of my first thing in my mind, like what feels natural for you? What should you be doing? So I've adjusted kind of like it's a hard road to walk. I'm even having a hard time talking about it because we have a lot of things going on too, right? So my wife and I are home together now. We're both stressed out in different ways about this. My boys are home. We need to try to keep the business running while we're also, trying to be observant of what's going on in the world. We're trying to be supportive of our friends and family, and trying to be supportive, obviously, of you guys. And so I think it's all a matter of observing how much energy we have and where the most effective place for that energy to be is, right? Does that make sense? And that's kind of how I've been going about this. Last week I've described in some of these sessions that by Thursday I was feeling incredibly worn down. I was feeling unhealthy. I was feeling like the weight of everything on my mind. So I had to take a step back, right? And I had to take a step back from the news. I had to take a step back from a lot of different things. But I need to get back on the horse the next day and readjust and figure out the best use of my time and energy. And so it's hard to navigate, but I think, it all comes down to what's aligned with your purpose and values and what feels authentic to you. So for me, doing these sessions doesn't feel like a lot of work because I don't, I feel like it's cathartic for both sides, right? I know you guys, from the feedback I'm getting, I know it's good for you, and talking this stuff through is good for me. And I don't feel, it's not like I'm not throwing out like a new course on how to get through this. So I'm not being disingenuous with what I'm doing. So I think that's the way I've been navigating it for myself. Like, now is not the time to try to oversell you anything. I'm not trying to build my email list or anything. I mean, sure, we still are. Like, business still needs to happen, but that's not my main priority. That's not where all my effort is going. So that's kind of like where I'm at with it. So while I could be doing all of these other things, it just doesn't feel right for me. So I'm backing away from it and doing more of this stuff. From the household thing, we have to pack our house. We're supposed to be moving in 3 weeks. And so, we're trying to do what we can while still wasting time with our kids playing video games, while still realizing that some days, we just want to watch TV and watch a movie. So we're giving ourselves a little bit of leeway in that regard. So, and other days we're going to be more energized. Like today, the sun's out. We're going to take advantage of this, and I think that understanding that too. Like, yesterday was a day I spent 3 hours playing video games with my kids until 10 o'clock last night. Now today, the sun is shining. We feel energized. We wake up with a ton of energy, and so we're going to take advantage of that and put all of our effort toward productive things. So we're going to work. We're going to take the kids outside. We're going to take some things to storage. We're going to pack up more boxes. We're going to let the fresh air flow through the house and get things done, right? I'm going to do this video. I'm going to do the video at 3 o'clock. We have other things that we're going to be doing for work. So we're going to take advantage of this solar power that I feel like we have today. And I'm going to run through the day. And then, maybe tomorrow I'll feel tired, right? And tomorrow's going to be maybe like just a kind of like, let's dabble in to-do listy type of things. But we're going to feel the energy. We're going to go with it, while still trying to maintain that thread of consistency through each day, right? So not every day is going to be high energy, go, 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 but we're going to try to be as consistent as possible with our healthy habits, with the journaling, with the identifying priorities, even if some days they're smaller, other days they're big. So take advantage of when you have good energy. And yeah, and now I'm seeing Janice, my sound changed again like yesterday. I don't know what's going on with it. I apologize if that's still happening. But yeah, we have some issues with it. So I apologize. Um, but yeah, try to stick up with it as best you can. Stacy says Deepak Chopra has a whole thing on blackout for sleep. I got several blackout sleep by masks. Huge difference even for meditations. Easy help, big result. And that's a good one too. The masks are good too if you can get those. All right, so now that we know we have a sound issue, I'm going to finish up with the resources that we have for you, where you can get more information about good sleep. The book that's out there, it's a good audio book, is Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson. I'll post a link for that. And then he also has a podcast called The Model Health Show. And the other book that I like to reference quite a bit in all of the things we talk about is When, W-H-E-N, and that is by Daniel Pink, and that's about taking advantage of the energy that you have, whether you're an owl or a lark, and how energy flows through the day, and figure out what type of person you are and how you can take best advantage of it. So sorry that the sound issue is happening. I don't know what's going on. I did notice the video stuttering a little while ago. I'm thinking again, it's an internet issue, so I apologize for that. But I hope this was still valuable for you. If you have any questions, please drop a question in the comments, and we'll get to it for you. Thank you again very much, everybody. Stacy, you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here with us. Have a great day, and I will see you at 3 o'clock today, and we'll talk about what this situation, how it's defining the rest of our lives. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.